What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to another video at Axe Entertainment. I am your host, Zack Axe, bringing you my ranking and review for the 2025 Halloween Havoc NXT PLE. Now, I know this one's coming out pretty late, and weekly awards will also be coming out a little bit later than usual, and I do really apologize for that. I was away in Massachusetts for a Patriots game and a bunch of other, sightseeing up there. It was a very good time. So I actually ended up watching this PLE while I was in Boston, so that's why we're coming at you a little bit later now, but hey, better later than never, right? So let's go ahead and get into these 6 matches. I think overall Halloween Havoc was actually very lackluster, not something you expect from an NXT PLE, but overall the PLE really fell kind of flat for the most part, aside from a couple matches. So let's go ahead and get into the ranking and review. At number 6, and this is going to be crazy just because I never would have guessed in a million years that this match would be coming in at number 6, but we have Mr. Iguana and La Parka taking on Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Now, why am I saying this match I didn't think it was going to come in this low? Because it's Mr. Iguana and La Parka are absolutely crazy, high-flying, Lucha Libre style wrestlers. And then you also have Javon Evans, who's my favorite NXT wrestler, and Leon Slater, 2 very young, up and coming high flyers. So I thought this match was going to be all over the place with insane spots and great moves, and it ended up being terrible. And I don't want to say that, like, just blatantly come out and say that match was terrible, but that match was not good at all. They're missing everything. It was so awkward. All the spots that looked like they were really being set up ended up falling flat. The double springboard missed when they're supposed to connect with each other, kind of like how Carmelo and Cody Rhodes did on SmackDown and one of Carmelo's debut matches. And just, yeah, overall this match was very sluggish, very bad overall. Like I said, I hate to just say bad blatantly, but it really just was not good, and it's so disappointing because this match I was so excited for and I thought it was going to be very good, and it just ended up not being good at all. So I had to come in at number 6. But I did predict Leon and Javon to win this match, so it put me at 1-0. For now on, I will be putting my predictions on the post in the channel, so if you want to see my predictions before you watch this, check those for now on. Coming in at number 5, we have the NXT Women's Championship match between Jacy Jayne and Tatum Paxley. And this is another match that kind of got me a little upset because Jacy Jayne has slowly morphed into one of my favorite women's wrestlers on the planet. She's been having absolutely great matches in the NXT Women's division, and she's putting on classics with everybody she steps in the ring with. And Tatum Paxley is a pretty known commodity at this point that she is a pretty good wrestler. And I thought this match was going to be something special, and it just turned out to be, in my opinion, the worst Jacy Jayne title defense that we've seen to this point. Just because Jacy Jayne has been having this legendary run that we did not think she was going to have. We thought she was going to be a transitional champion, but she ended up having this great, amazing run, and she's looked phenomenal. And then Tatum wins a battle royal by surprise, and we get this match, and this match just felt incredibly sluggish. Just like the match before it, it felt like it was a lot of missed opportunity for different spots that could have happened, and then ended up just being a all-out brawl between the Culling and Fatal Influence on the outside, taking each other out. And then the one good thing that did come out of this was a big surprise win, because I did not see in a million years Tatum Paxley picking up this win. I actually predicted Jacy Jayne to retain here, so put me at 1-1. But Tatum Paxley ended up picking up the surprise win and winning the NXT Women's Championship. And it's exciting on one hand because it's kind of like the same thing that happened with Stephanie and Jacy. We did not see Stephanie losing this title to Jacy Jayne, and it ended up just happening. I don't think any of us saw Tatum Paxley winning this title, and she ended up picking up a big win and winning her first ever championship in NXT. I'm excited to see where this goes. I would assume something with Izzy and Tatum probably down the line. But yeah, Tatum Paxley is your new NXT Women's Champion, which is absolutely insane to not see that one coming. At number 4, we have Zarya defending the NXT Women's North American Championship for Soruka and taking on the glamorous Blake Monroe. Now, this match, I honestly was not excited for. This is kind of flipped from the other two, because the other two I was excited for and they ended up, not delivering. This one I was actually not excited for at all, and I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit. Why I wasn't excited for it is simply because Soruka is my favorite women's wrestler currently in NXT, and I was excited to see Blake Monroe versus Soruka because these two are both phenomenal in the ring. And we ended up getting Zarya as a last-minute replacement the week before. And Zarya's not a bad replacement. She's not a bad wrestler, don't get me wrong, nothing like that. I just really excited to see Soruka versus Blake Monroe, and when you add Zarya in, it became a completely different match. You know, it went from being a high-flying match to definitely being more of a ground mat-based match. But it was actually pretty entertaining. It was pretty fun. I think my biggest gripe with this match is that at one point Soruka pushed Zarya into the the post to try to realign her shoulder. But if you ask me, whether or not she's on that team, she just assaulted a active competitor, so that should have been DQ. I thought that's what was happening. I thought she was trying to cause a DQ so that she could walk away with this championship, walk away with her championship. But instead, she just shoved Zarya into it to relocate her shoulder. We had some more back and forth in the match before we ended up getting the hair pick, but she didn't use the hair pick at all, which is kind of weird that they made a big deal about it. And then, like, she didn't get knocked out of her hand or anything. She just didn't have it next time you saw her. But then she does, you know, do the whole thing with Soruka on the outside. Zarya gets worried. Zarya gets hit with 2 DDTs, and that is the end of it. And Blake Monroe is your new NXT North American Women's champion, which is what I predicted to put me at 2-1. I did think this was Blake Monroe's time to shine. As much as I love Soruka and love this reign she was having after she got injured, I just 100% saw this title going to Blake Monroe, for one, because they needed a new champion, because of course Soruka is injured, and for two, because I felt like this was another perfect plot device to slowly drive away Zaruka and break them up, because they've been, you know, slowly turning for months now, and I feel like this will be kind of the nail in the coffin when Soruka does come back, like, hey, you're the reason I'm not champion anymore. So I'm excited for when that happens. But yeah, Zarya and Blake Monroe is coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Trick Williams taking on Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. This is the match that closed out the night, and honestly, I don't think it was that great of a match still. I don't think any of these last 4 matches were particularly the best. I think the number 1 and number 2 were fun in their own ways, and we'll get into that. But at number 3, of course, we have Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. It felt like a very generic, like, NXT level match, and I don't mean like that in a derogatory way. I mean like an NXT TV match, like a match that you would turn on NXT weekly and see. It felt like a pretty slow back and forth match until the end. At the end, we finally got some pretty cool sequences back and forth between the two, and it's just another one of those kind of underwhelming moments, because these are 2 guys that are the best in NXT, not necessarily the best, but 2 of the best in NXT, and they put on a match that was absolutely a stinker in my opinion compared to what I wanted to see. I need to stop talking down on it because it wasn't a terrible match, but I'm saying that because I was so excited for it, thinking it was going to be a 5-star classic, and instead we got a match that still had some good qualities, but not as good as I wanted it to be. But getting into the match, of course, like I said, we had a very steady back and forth before we got a bookend through the announce table by Trick Williams. Got back in the ring, had a couple more moves before a tornado DDT, ended Trick Williams. And I thought it was kind of weird because I thought the tornado DDT was a move that we were going to mostly see against bigger guys like Jasper Troy or Obafemi. But he pulled it out against Trick Williams to win instead of pulling out the Rochambeau. So I don't know if he's going completely away from using the Rochambeau or what, but Ricky Saints does retain, which is going to put me at 3-1 on my predictions. Let's go ahead and get into number 2. At number 2, we have the Broken Rules match between the Hardy Boys and Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Now, I feel like their first match was very, very bad, very sloppy. You know, it was not good at all, right? We got into this match, and this match was really, really fun for the reason, like, of being really fun. Like, you know, they made it a Broken Rules match. I think they kind of saw what happened the first time, said we can't have that again on a PLE, and made it a Broken Rules match so we could see the Hardys get back to their old TLC ways. We saw at one point a diving swanton to the outside to take out, I believe Cyrus was on that one, and then a leg drop from the top of the ladder from Matt Hardy to take out Dion, or was that Cutler and Sugar? I don't remember. Take out 2 members. There's some very cool high octane spots like that. We had a twist of fate on the chair, kind of like Matt delivered to Jeff back at WrestleMania 25. I think he ended up doing it to Dion Lennox. And we had it's everything. This whole show was like a good back and forth. Every match had good back and forth, never too much of, you know, one thing. My biggest gripe, because I always have a gripe with every match, my biggest gripe with this match is just the fact that I don't believe that the Hardys should have been able to take out the whole Dark State by themselves, because Dark State up to this point has looked like a dominant force, taking out Obafemi, taking out Moose, taking out Leon and Evans. But then in this match, they got 4 of them got their ass kicked by just two guys in their 50s. I know Matt or Jeff's not there yet, but he will be very soon. So I think that was my biggest gripe. Besides that, I mean, it was a pretty fun car wreck TV. I mean, at one point, Jeff Hardy went for a swanton bomb off the top of a ladder on the outside with 2 tables set up. I believe that was, I need to remember who was in these spots, but I think Cyrus was on the table, rolled out of the way, and Hardy's hit, and Jeff hit hard. And I think by far, though, the coolest move of the match was actually the move that finished the match, and that was Dion Lennox climbing up a ladder on the outside, Cyrus picking up one of the Hardy Boys on his shoulders, and then we saw a freaking doomsday device off the ladder from the outside through a table to the inside to pick up Dark State the championships, and that is what I predicted. I said that as soon as the Hardys won on Weekly Awards, I said we're going to see them drop these titles back to Dark State immediately. Probably this is just to get the Hardy Boys another championship, or the last championship that they haven't held, So we got it. We got the Hardy Boys winning the titles, and we got them losing it back to Dark State, which is what I predicted, so put me at 4-1. Let's go ahead and get into number 1. And at number 1, we have by far the best match on the entire show, and that is All Ego Ethan Page taking on El Hilo del Dr. Wagner Jr. This match by far stole the show, because I don't think any of the other matches could even really live up to it, because even the Hardy Boys versus Dark State at number 2 was a match that overall was more car wreck than wrestling. This match had both, and it implemented them perfectly. These two are both like master classes, and it looked absolutely spectacular. Not like a single mess up in this entire match. First of all, Ethan Page's face paint looked very, very cool. And then after we get into it, we have a lot of crazy spots. We have Ethan Page getting busted wide open at one point. We have a trash can coast to coast by El Hilo del, I don't want to say El Hilo del Dr. Wagner Jr. every time. So Dr. Wagner. We had Dr. Wagner's mask getting ripped by Ethan Page, which is absolutely crazy. That they would let his mask get ripped in a match that he doesn't end up winning. Spoiler alert, sorry. That was actually a little bit crazy to me, though. We had an Ego's Edge into the trash can, absolutely flattened the trash can under Dr. Wagner. And then we get towards the ending sequence. Of course, we have a lot of cool spots in between all of that. The ending sequence, there's a table in the ring, Ethan Page and Dr. Wagner fighting on the top rope. Ethan Page finds some mysterious powder. I don't even know where he got it from. Like, I had no idea. He just kind of magically appeared in his hand, and he throws it at Dr. Wagner, whose eyes, of course, are exposed because his mask is ripped. I honestly think he looked a lot cooler with his mask ripped. I think he looked a lot like Rain in Mortal Kombat 1. If you know, you know. I'll put a picture right here to compare. But then Ethan Page throws the powder into the eyes of Dr. Wagner, hits a twisted grin off the top through a table to retain his championship. And if it wasn't for Tatum versus JC, I would have gone undefeated and got 6-0, but instead I got 5-1. So that is my final predictions, was 5-1. But overall, that match was absolutely great. I think it stole the show very, very well. Like, it was definitely a very bright match in a show that was filled with mostly like dark matches, But overall, I think it was definitely still an enjoyable PLE, just not as good as I was hoping it was. But that is all I have for you guys. Like I said, I apologize that this is coming out late and Weekly Awards is coming out late. I'm trying to get on it for you guys. Go ahead and leave in the comments for me what's your favorite match from NXT Halloween Havoc 2025 was. While you're down there, go ahead and like the video for me, subscribe, ring the bell if you want me to notified when I drop a video like this one, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I am him, you are not, I am grim, you are lost, heating up, ovens hot, beating up all the frauds. You're a king, I'm a god, y'all got bling, I do not, cause I'm clean, y'all get clawed. On the top, y'all are frauds, at the top of my game, but still I get no fame. That's cause I would never pay for a fan to come my way.
Oh my god, this thing is so hard to walk in. I'm walking here.